Okay, good afternoon all. Hey Speedy, how you doing, buddy? So I'm in a trade here actually. We've had a channel going up here and we've had sort of two legs back. And I like that. I dare say there's going to be some stops there, so I'm hoping this turns into a higher low. Looking to get out just at the highs, but we have been higher than this leg, so I think it's likely going to go up anyway. So as you can see, I'm still on a sim. I've passed those two. These two evaluations, and I've just done two micros earlier on this morning. So we're just on a sim now anyway, but we've had a nice channel up. We've had 1, 2, 3, 4 touches, a break, another one. So we literally bottomed here. So this looks like it's going up to me there. So I like that. Bounce. I expect that to push up. So Chris, how you doing? Exponential, how are you, mate? So yeah, those two have passed. I've got another 2 days, so these two will go live on Thursday. So I mean, I don't technically need to trade today, but at the end of the day, it's screen time, isn't it? So I'm probably going to do about an hour and a half, I think, something like that. It's always useful to get some screen time in. So where are we now? So we've got about 3.5 minutes till the market opens. I expect that to work there. We have got a channel, we have got a break, we've got a bounce, a push up and another bounce, so I do expect it to go up. There'll probably be some stops there thinking about the failure, maybe some there. I mean, it may come down, but looks like a reasonable setup to me, leg, and a push up. So we'll see what happens anyway. So hope everyone's had a relaxing weekend. Let's shove this over here. Still got this 71% discount in case anyone is looking for one. They do seem to be slowing down on the discount, so I don't quite know why. But I don't think it's a bad thing. I know I tend to take stupid risks with them. So, hey Sam, how you doing, bud? Yeah, I'm well. Hope you're well, mate. How are you getting on? I did have a look at your stream. You're trading after, well, a little bit later than me, aren't you? 5:30. Yeah. So if anybody is stuck for something and you're still trading, Sam's streaming from 5:30. As you probably know anyway. Slowly building. Yeah, I think that's the key, mate. Do you know I was chatting with Wilson a few days ago? He'd smashed his $2,600. And he said he's not looking at that $2,600 now at any type of a crucial level. He's forgetting about it. He's just aiming to get up to, I think he said about 7,000 or 7,500, which I agree. I think it's a perfect place. So he's forgetting about the 20. See, he's had payments before. I've had payments before. You haven't, see. So you've still got, it's that initial barrier to get through. You know, I've had about 4 payments this year, 4 or 5 payments, something like that, about $10,000 worth anyway. And but he said to me he's not focusing on it as any type of a level. So he's imagining it's not there. It doesn't mean anything. The trouble is, if you're planning on getting some money, you're planning on withdrawing when you hit $26,000. You've got that sort of you got that number in the forefront of your mind, and as you're getting close to it, like you found out the other week, as you get close to it, it starts to apply the pressure, and that's, I think, when you can start to make some mistakes. This looks like it's pushing up now. That's when you can start to make some mistakes. So just take your time, mate. Try and forget about the $2,600. Just keep going. Aim for 5,000, because the good thing about hitting 5,000, we've actually bounced off my order. The good thing about hitting $5,000 is you can any time decide to take $2,000 if you want. So it's bouncing again. I think that's going to push through. I'll be surprised if it doesn't. It would come down otherwise, I think. But I mean, if I was on a PA account, I'd get out. I like to get out at these bars here, at where the body finishes, but I'd expect that to push up. Yeah, it's worked anyway. It just bounced up. So, but yeah, I would aim for just have a rough target of $500 and $5,000 in your head. At least that way you way past the 2,600. And then once you get to that, I mean, the biggest account I've got up is 7,700, and it does take the pressure off. But I got a bit too confident and thinking I'd made it and cracked it, and I had a bad day, couldn't manage it, took way too much of a loss, and then to cut a long story short, I crumbled. But it happens, and I think that's the trick when you do manage to start get payments, is not to get overly confident. It doesn't matter how good a trader you are, the market will not give you easier trades just because you're a good trader. And I found that out painfully. Okay, market is open. So I try to get my salary each day and not think about before. Yeah, I think that's a good point, actually. I think just take it as a day at a time. Now, I was thinking about this, Sam, the other day, and me trading 2 contracts. Now, I would say in an ideal world, if I could get $2,000 off each account per month, if I waited for 3 high-quality trades in a week, that would give me $2,400 a month. So you really don't need a lot. Thinking about 2 and 3 trades a day, you don't even need to be anywhere near that. So nice job, mate. Play that video I sent you for yourself to congratulate you. Cheers, mate. But yeah, you only really need a few trades a day. That's it, really. It's only a sim, this one, mate. Anyway, it's only a sim. Those two have passed. So it's only a sim. What do we class this was? A high or low second entry? Nothing really. So just 2 points. So yeah, it's only a sim, that one. I've done 2 micros this morning, one on each of those. I've decided to put everything on the screen so you can see. Well, trouble is, we're sort of doing this together, really, aren't we? I'm helping you guys are helping me. It's about helping support each other. So I'd rather show you guys everything. So those are the accounts and the amounts. And I've started incorporating this in there as well, because as you know, I had that hiccup the other day where accounts disappeared from here and the screen, but there was one of the accounts, I think most of you were with me when we saw it, there was one of the accounts that hadn't closed in Rhythmic. So I've now got this on. So if we're in a trade, it'll show here as a red cross. Obviously, this one didn't show because it's a sim, but you could see the 2 I did earlier on the micros. I like that leg, a couple of legs back. It was 2 clear legs. It was a bit, I don't know, but I just liked the way that we had a bounce, a nice bullish bar. So I think that was a fair comment. That was at least going to get to these highs. Maybe measured move. Yeah, maybe so, mate. So, but I'll tell you, I can't tell you enough how much that break at Christmas did me a world of good. It is like being, not that I've ever had a bad marriage, but I've had friends who've had them, and you go anywhere near them and they're constantly arguing. It's like you're in the middle of it's just, you're constantly frustrated and angry all the time. And I think sometimes learning makes you feel like that, and if you don't get a break now and again, it just affects every single trade you do. You get a new account, something goes wrong, you think, here we go again. So I think a break, if you're struggling, I think is paramount. It's made a world of difference to me. It really has. I feel refreshed. I just don't want to piss around anymore. I don't want to mess around anymore. You know what I mean? I ain't getting any younger, and I've done enough now. You spend a lot of time making mistakes and forgiving yourself for them, but at some point you got to, you've got to sort of admit to yourself that you need to now grow up and start doing something. And that's what I've had to do over the Christmas period. Just start saying, I literally shouted at myself and said I need to grow up and start making proper decisions and not just doing stupid stuff. Probably something bigger there, but I'll leave it like that for now. But so look at that video. Did you email it me or messenger me? So email, I'm assuming. have you sent it, Kev? Can't see anything in No, I see the last one you sent 20th. Oh, I probably haven't sent it yet, have you? I'll have a look after. No, you haven't sent it. Okay. Oh, yeah. I got you. Yeah. I'll keep that one for myself again. I'll tell you what, if you could have something like that every time you want to trade, I'll tell you what, your trading would improve. It's a sim, no video. Too late, mate. Yeah, no, it's only a sim. It'll be a sim for 2 more days after this. I've got, this is day 5 on those 2 evaluations. But yeah, I can't tell you how much refreshed I feel. In fact, in a strange way, I'm kind of, and this sounds a bit odd, but I'm kind of looking forward to having a 2-day loss, a 2-trade loss in a day, to sort of to deal with it, because I think I'm going to deal with it well. But you know, I think it's fair to say that when you've been trading for 2 or 3 years and you you understand how the markets work and you know your strategy, and you start to stay out of trades you would have ordinarily previously got trapped in, and you really start to understand what's going on, and your skill level starts to go. The only thing really letting you down is the psychological side when you have a bad day, because having good days doesn't affect you, does it? We win a trade, we feel great. I like Wilson's money explosion on the screen. Yeah, he has. He has. I'm glad he's doing well, because I've only ever lost 4 accounts in one go. He's lost 20, and I believe him on more than one occasion, so that must be crippling. But I'm pleased. I like hearing about people do well, because it gives you a boost, doesn't it, to know people are out there doing it. But I got to say, he's such a nice guy. Whenever I've had bad days in the past, and he sent me nice messages, he speaks really nice. So anybody that's ever spared a bit of time with me and wrote a message or something, I got a lot of time for. So he's a nice guy. But yeah, I think it's important to say that he did say he stopped looking at $2,600 as any form of a milestone. He's forgetting about it, because Sam had that as he was coming up to close to his first payment. I was looking at some of his trades, and I noticed some of he was taking riskier trades. So when you're getting close to that area, it does affect you. So I think it's good to try and forget about it and just aim for a bigger picture. Aim for $5,000, because when you get close to $5,000, you're not going to have the nerves, are you? Because you're already way above the $2,600 where you can get paid. You have to lose into it. Yeah, I can't imagine how that feels. I know young what's-its Moo, he's had it a couple of times as well. So I don't think he's streaming at the moment. I think he finished before Christmas. I don't know why he hasn't come back. But he's all right. He's a nice guy as well. I don't like to see anyone struggling or having a hard time, because I know what it feels like. Okay, so we've had this channel up, we've had a break, and we've had a new high, but we've got another channel here, so would you go long here, or would you? It's too far from the EMA for me. It is sort of a second entry, and it might probably work, but it's just a bit too far away from the EMA. I mean, I could take on a sim if I wanted to. I've got nothing to lose, but I tend to get into this frame of mind that it doesn't matter what I'm trading. I think it's important to leave them alone rather than have a go. But there's a first entry and there's a second entry. I like Moo's energy, but he gets into trades way too quick. Yeah, I get that, because I've done it myself. You go for a period of over trading. I watched a trade he did the other day. He did about five trades within 30 minutes or something. Another thing that frustrates me, and it's nothing personal on him, but he only takes a point. And the trouble is, at the moment, you add another 2 ticks onto the ATR there. It's 2 3/4 point risk to get a point. You're gonna struggle. I honestly think if you're going to scalp a point, you need to be a really competent trader, and you need to have a runner. I think if you're scalping just 1 point, not a fan of a lot of it. Yeah, he's going through that stage. I think that we've all been through where we overtrade. Overtrading hasn't been so much of my problem lately. It's been accepting losses. I think my skill level is good enough to make money. I know that. I'm confident that I know enough, and purely and simply because I get much better now at not losing trades, not so much winning trades. But I don't know how many times I got into trades where I got trapped and I didn't even have a clue what was going on. But yeah, he's in that over trading thing at the moment, isn't it? His self-confidence and his attitude, even when he's, I wish I had. Yeah, he does. I try and watch his face when he takes a loss to try and suss out how he's feeling. But I know sometimes when he's had a few losses, he'll come back the following day and you'll see him back on a sim. So I think he still has the same going through that mentality of blowing accounts like we do. But I think he'll do okay. I think he's a stayer. I think he'll continue to trade. But yeah, he's going through that sort of level at the moment of over trading, and we've all done it. I certainly have. I remember not long after I started, I put £3,000 of my own money into it, and I worked out that after a trading session, I should be $85 up, but what I didn't take into consideration was $175 worth of fees. So it just goes to show how many trades I was taking back then. But I think what happens is the more you do it, you get better at filtering out the crap. But the only way to learn is to just trade, isn't it? It really is. It's like any type of job you do, the more you do it, the better you get at it. It's a fact of life. There's no easy way around it. The better you get, the more you do it, the better you get. It's a numbers game, isn't it? So that would have went for 2 points. You'd have got out before the highs anyway. But so there is a lower high there. So we've had a break and a new high. So there is a possibility of a range. Just put a line there. So it may be bouncing off it, or it may be coming back into it. I'm not sure yet, but there is a lower high there. So I wouldn't take that at the moment, although that has played out. But because we're nice and up at the moment, I tend to wait. Rather wait for the failure. But one thing I've had to learn, and I'm a lot better at now, it used to frustrate me if I left a trade and it won. It doesn't bother me in the slightest now. If I leave that and it works for 2 points, it doesn't bother me in the slightest now. So I'm getting much better at leaving trades. I'll tell you what I will say, the NASDAQ has got a lot nicer, tighter channel here. So this looks like it might be a first break at this, so we may even continue up. But what we'll say, guys, is if you haven't done it, see this here. This is the positions tab from Rhythmic. Start having this on your screen or in your eye line. Are you using ATM copy on replicant, or have you switched it off? It's switched off at the moment, bud. Yeah, it's switched off at the moment, just because I'm on a sim at the moment, because those two are passed. You got me worried then. I did those earlier. They're just micros because I've got another couple of days left after today, so they're just 2 micros. But I've started having this on my eye line because I never used to have Rhythmic. I used to have Rhythmic open, but I never used to look at anything apart from the balance. But as you know, the other day I had that problem with trades closing here in NinjaTrader, but still open in Rhythmic, which I'd never experienced before. And I mean, I've been using Rhythmic and Apex for well over a year now, maybe 14, 15 months, and I've never. So apparently the trick is to have this positions tab open in Rhythmic. That way, you've either got something to see here. If you can't see it, so check it. So if there is a trade that has closed in NinjaTrader but not closed in Rhythmic, there'll be a red cross there. So it's just a matter of clicking it and shutting it down. So if you don't have that and you're using a trade copier, I'll consider putting something on your screen or at least in your eye line. I like the fact that I've got it all here. I can see any trades that may not have closed in the orders and positions here, and I've got the positions in case it's not shown in Rhythmic, because I've never experienced that before. I've experienced most other problems, but I did put a post out just to see if anybody else had some issues. A few people had, but I don't know whether it was any more than normal. I did wonder, because we'd had an update from Replicanto, whether it was anything to do with Replicanto, but I've not heard anything else. So the only other thing I'd changed is, because I was trading an eval, I'd changed to 3 contracts and a runner. So that's the only thing I changed. So I don't know why, but it's prompted me to start having this. So I've got the amount here in the account, so I can see if anything's moving there, and if there's a cross there. You know, I'd rather have all these problems on evaluations, so you're not losing a lot. But can you imagine having 20 accounts and some of them doesn't? Some of them don't shut and ended up losing a few. So yeah, I mean, you wouldn't think it'd be difficult, would you, to have some sort of software that just shut everything down, either on NinjaTrader and that. I don't quite know why it seems to be so difficult that you've got to monitor 2 different things. Surely there must be something. Some software that as soon as it closes on the screen, it shuts everything down. But yeah, Chris, it's switched off at the moment because I'm just trading 1 sim at the moment. I've got 2 more days on those, so just a micro each a day, just to count the days. I'm not sure about that. It kind of fits at the bottom, but doesn't look visually right, does it? Maybe. Yeah, maybe it is. Maybe it's just a spike in the channel. But yeah, I don't know why he's not streaming. Streaming isn't for everyone. You don't know whether it makes things better or worse. For me, it's only helped me. But well, as you guys know, I sit and chunter onto myself. I tend to think out aloud anyway, so talking about what I'm seeing and my thoughts is something I tend to do anyway, really. But you don't know whether, some people will find it that it affects their trades. I don't know, who knows. So there's 3 sort of small. There's a smaller channel there, which is we've had a break in a new high. There's another little channel breaking a new high. there's another little channel break at a new high, so it's hard to know what we're doing here because it doesn't look like there's a channel on the NQ which is just continuing on working up. Looks really nice, so it just doesn't look like it's ready to break and do anything but continue on up. There might be a bit of a break here, but we've had a touch here, touch here, touch here, and multiple touches on the backside, so that doesn't look like it's ready to finish just yet. So if this continues to go up, chances are the ES will. Excuse me. So we've got leg break, new high. See if we get another higher low here. Actually, that would be a failure. Second entry or failure. I'd like to break below there if we can. Having said that, it does look like it being a bit of resistance along there, so touch, 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 touch. Yeah, that is not a place to go long. I'm assuming someone did by the speed that came down. So we've come down to this line. Let's have a look. Yeah, you can clearly see some resistance there, so no wonder it's struggled to get up. So, well, it certainly looked like there was some long trades there, because when that hit that stop, it dropped 2 points in a split second, so it must have eaten some stops up. But we've had a push up, sort of a couple of legs back, high or low. People thinking we're going to continue on up, but I wouldn't have gone near that. I mean, purely and simply because it's only a first entry. It's way above the EMA, and lucky there's a load of support there going into that. That's asking for trouble. So what I'll say is we've got a leg down. Okay, this is making a bit of sense. We've got a leg down here and another leg, and that looks even clearer on the NQ. So we've got a nice continuation of a push-up, leg back, leg back. So if we can get down here, I expect that to go. So we've got a nice leg, so a nice 2 legs back. So I'm assuming we're going to be looking at very similar on here. So yeah, we've got a leg back, leg back. So what I'll be looking for is a higher low there. I don't want to just take that. I'd rather wait for a higher low, but I would think there's a good chance that would get us back to the EMA. So it is a leg back and a leg back. If you're sort of a little bit more aggressive, you'd probably take that, but I'd say not quite. There's your 2 points. But for 6 ticks, certainly 6 ticks there. I think it's likely that's going to go higher, back up to here at least. We're nearly breaking the highs on the NQ at the moment, so certainly good for 6 ticks, that is. We're going up, sideways, leg back. So I would say there may be a bigger channel there. Trying to say. Not sure about that. See if we can get a higher low here. I'll be interested in taking a higher low if we get that.
Order submitted.
Yeah, I'm still not massively convinced that channel's right. I'm going to take that.
Order filled.
Just for 6 ticks.
Target filled.
Okay, put that in that. I'd have preferred that to be a bit lower, but we had a really nice higher low on the NQ, so I think that was worth it. We got a leg back and a leg back, nice big bullish bar, higher low, that was going up for me. So it really helps me having the NQ on there, because it just, I mean, that pushed up in a split second, that did. If the NQ's looking bullish as well, because the trouble is here, sometimes trades on here, you can misjudge them, or they could not look quite right, or they might be a bit confusing. Whereas on the NQ, that was a lot clearer. We had a nice channel up here. We had 2 clear legs back and a nice push up, and we had a nice higher low. So that's a lot clearer. You can clearly see that's working nice there. It's not as clear on the ES, but as we know, if the NQ rockets up, this one just follows, which is why I took that one, although it wasn't a higher low. Well, it kind of was, but it could have been doing with at least a tick or 2 low. But we'd come down, we'd had 2 legs down, we'd sort of pushed up, we'd had 2 legs back and a bullish bar. I'd expect a higher low. Doesn't mean, even if we don't get a higher low, it doesn't mean it's not going to go up. So it's still worth taking. So that was 0.5 plus 1.5 points. So it definitely helps having the NQ above my head, because the picture was a lot clearer. So I would say I'm going to do that like that, I think. I'm still not sure about that. The only reason I'm changing this is because it doesn't really matter. Okay, so just for now, I'm going to get rid of that. Because it's a bit sideways. So we got a leg up, break, new high, leg up, break, new high. 2 attempts to go lower, failure, pushed up. It pushed nicely above the EMA, so I think that was a nice reason to take that. And what I like is we've come down and bounced around this area a couple of times, so it looks quite clear actually. It certainly looks a lot clearer on the NQ. It's a lot smaller and tighter, but it gives you the same picture really. Leg up, break new high, leg up, break new high. One attempt to go lower, a second attempt to go lower. So we clearly bounced off this a few times and up we go. I didn't take that one because it wasn't a second. Well, it technically was, but I just want to give it a chance to move. And it did. And although it wasn't technically a high or low, it was definitely a bullish bar which had closed on its highs. You'd expect that to get to the top. Which is why I was just going out for 6 ticks. Excuse me. It's quite a small rest out as well, I think. I think I put mine around about there, so it's 2.25 points. That's a relatively smaller bar, isn't it? So maybe we're going to retest this and then push up higher. Quite likely, I think. I think there is some sort of a channel further up there. But see, on the NQ again, it's looking like a hidden second entry long. It's bouncing off here, so I may take that.
Order submitted. Order filled.
Oh, I got trapped here. I might have done. I like the way it's come down and bounced off here and pushed up. I actually kind of like that. We've gone up to the top a couple of times. We've come down, a little bit of sideways, down again, come back a tick or so off the top of this little range and a bounce. So I actually kind of like that. Out plenty before the highs. Same again, relatively small risk. It does seem to be a bigger channel there. Yeah, I like that. Touch, touch. Touch. God, I wish trading a PA was as less stressful as trading a sim. So yeah, that'll smash that. That will, no problem there.
Target filled.
We got okay. We just taking that one out at the on the NQ, so it's much clearer on the NQ. So at least it gives you a sort of a broader idea of what's going to happen. So this does look like a channel now. Touch, touch, touch. Let's change the colour of it. That's where that measured leg. Oh, I got 2 legs up. So we got to touch, touch, touch. It looks visually a little bit better, I think. When NQ gives these beautiful channels, it kind of gives us when the ES channel may have started the same. Yeah, I'll tell you something. I seem to have got more benefit from having the NQ above my head than bookmap, in all fairness. Because let's just bring that back in again. How clear does that look? It fits lovely right the way in right in the middle there, all the way up, and then we have the break. So we had 2 legs back. 2 clear legs back, so we made 2 clear attempts, and they're really nice legs, nice bullish bar, and then we had a higher low. Now, the higher low I took wasn't technically a great higher low, but if this is going to go up from there, which it clearly did, you'd expect that to. But although it's technically not a higher low, it's still a nice bullish bar higher on. I don't know, you probably could technically say. So I think that was worth taking it. Would I have taken that without seeing that? No, but it was that clear, 2 legs back and a higher low. That goes up. It's going to eat some stops pretty quickly, and it did. It went up nice. And same with this one. Now, that wasn't a great bar there, but that was a hidden second entry long. It looked a bit better when I decided to go for that, but that's a hidden second entry long. That's not technically, although you may disagree with it. We had a little bit of down, a doji, and then a bit more down, and we came down close to the top of this. So it depends where you've even got that line. You could put that line there. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4 touches, and it came down, touched it, and bounced. So it's almost a hidden second entry long. And obviously, we're clearly still working up at the moment, so I think that's as good as entry to get in. And obviously, then it went up pretty quick. That was the quickest trade. So the trouble is, that's the thing. You don't know sometimes whether you're better off trying to trade your PA account the same as an evaluation. You know what I mean? There are some trades here that I may not have taken. That one I'd have taken. That one, probably. After we came off there, yeah, I probably would, because it was quite a small risk. That one, yeah, maybe I would have done. So maybe it'd just been one of those days where you get a few free trades. But I will say, having the NQ as a bit of a guidance, it's almost like having an older brother that's walking ahead of you, and you can sort of preempt what you're likely to do. If he turns left, chances are you're going to follow. So I kind of like it. It definitely gives me more value than bookmap did, and it's free, obviously. And we've got the daily here, which we seem to be getting that bounce. We had that drop, didn't we? We pushed up strong, dropped down, and then ended up more or less neutral. And then we opened today, came down a bit. That was that down, and then obviously back up. So whether we're going to push up a bit more or come up and test this, who knows? But I think there's probably some bullish stuff to come over the next few days. But we'll see. But this is what we're doing at the moment. But yeah, see, after that channel there, 2 legs back. I like the legs. Nice big bullish bar. The only thing is that bar was quite large. So it may have been better off. Yeah, shit, man, that's 5 points, that is. Yeah, I wouldn't have taken that for 5 points. Too much risk, that. But obviously on a sim, I may have got in. As this came down to here, I may have got in a bit lower, but even so, you get in 4 ticks low, you're still risking 4 points. So that one, based on what I can see off the NQ, we're up. We got 2 attempts to go lower. Clearly, nice big bullish bar. You may have gone there, but I waited for something. I think that's a good enough indicator that we're going up. So I'd have taken that one. Probably wouldn't have taken that one, actually. So I'd have certainly taken that one. Not sure about that one. Sometimes I tend to focus less on the size of the bar and more. I think the setup's more important. The trouble is, if I lose that, it's $500. as opposed to getting out before the tops. So it's a big risk, that. So perhaps I need to just pay attention to the size of the bar a bit more. But for me, it's more. But it used to be about. That's why I originally had that number of the count by the side, because it was more important to me that I didn't risk too much. But I think, in all honesty, the setup's more important. But that is rather large. That 5 points a bit big. So, leg down. Maybe we get another leg down. NQ's going a bit sideways. A bit doji and a bit wicky. Did take that 4-tick triple test for a quick 6 points. Good on you, mate. Yeah, well, Mac does talk about risk, doesn't he? Sometimes he'll say you've got to take that, or you've almost got to take that. It's only a 6-tick risk or something. So, a short couple of bars ago. The short, one of these. Did you go? Or are you? Oh, that one there. That one there. Okay, yeah. Okay, yeah, you'd expect that. We got 1, 2, 3, 4 multiple touches. You'd expect that to get back to the yeah. That makes sense. Yeah, you'd expect that to get back to the MA for sure, because that is where you don't want to go long. So what I find is when sometimes you get these week-long trades, it's a good place to take a short, because I think most of the time something like that will get trapped. And if it gets trapped below there, chances are it'll come back to the MA, and it clearly did. So there's certainly 2 points available there for definitely. So, but I think that sort of shows sort of inexperienced traders' way of looking at that. So I think if you're looking at stuff like that, you're thinking quite cleverly. Because there have been times in the past where I've taken a trade like that. Chances are now, 8 times out of 10, you take a trade like that, especially when you've had that many bounces, it's going to stop you out. And if it comes down here to stop you out, there's certainly more or less always, especially in that distance, going to be at least a point available. So sometimes it's just worth snagging. It's not all about big moves, is it? If you can snag yourself an obvious quick point, it's worth doing. You get a quick $100 there. You do that half a dozen times. 2, 3, 4 times in a month. It soon mounts up, pays for a nice holiday, that does. So we've had this an area where we struggled to get through, and we've had a leg back and a leg back. But yeah, sometimes if it offers you, you just got to take it. But yeah, it's perfect. Makes perfect sense. I've even seen Marco taking a short at the top of here in an uptrend. Because at the end of the day, if we've been up here 3 times, why the hell would you buy up here? The stronger traders are the sellers, aren't they, up here? So especially when we've gone 1, 2, 3, we've come back and we've had another one and ended up bearish. Makes perfect sense. And obviously, the traders that move the markets that quick obviously went short there, or the buyers ducked out, whichever one way you look at it. But it makes perfect sense. It drops. There's got to be a few points there, surely. Easily. So 1, 2, 3 possible second entry long triple test off here. Now I'm going to stick another bar here. 1, 2, 3. It's a doji. It's quite neutral as well, so I'm not going to take that one. But if we come down and touch this and then... Yeah, see, it's looking a bit different on the NQ. This is looking like a triple test and it could go higher. The NQ looks a bit different. The NQ looks like it could come down. But the daily looks like it can go up. It's a second entry long, feels counter trend to me. Yeah. Yeah, sometimes I wouldn't take it anyway because it's a doji. I like the fact that we're looking like we could have 3 attempts, but sometimes if I've got doubts, the best thing to do is just wait for the higher low, and if we get a higher low, then chances are we are continuing that. But this is going to come down and stop that out. I think, oh, we're getting a bit of volatility now. Maybe not. Maybe not. Yes, if you look on the NQ, it's getting a bit it was getting a bit volatile there. I suppose you've got buyers and sellers, but there's probably going to be some sellers here after this breaking a new high, so it could come down or it may bounce and go up. It does seem like it may be losing a bit of momentum, but if it can get above here, then who knows? I have a feeling that this might have a quick drop and take out stuff here because there's going to be probably some longs there thinking we're going to come back, test this and come and go up. I'm not sure if anybody, I haven't reloaded my historic, so that might look a bit of a better bar, but I wouldn't be surprised if we had a leg back and a leg back. Oh, I hate that. That's all I can do. The bar doesn't look any different. Yeah, I'm still not confident in going along here. I have a feeling we may have a quick drop here. It's struggling to get up. I think this is going to come down and take out any stops along this line. I think there may be some there, quite likely some there. 2 leg, there may be some in there. This seems like it's going to have a flush to me. Okay, consider that a higher low. I still wouldn't take that at the moment because it's just a little bit volatile. Ordinarily, I don't think something like that's that bad. 2 legs back in a higher low. Part of the reason is it is a little bit sideways here, and it's even more sideways on the NQ. And if the NQ does decide to tank, which it looks like it could do, I'm going to get trapped here going long. There's the NQ. It's struggling multiple times. We came back and it's struggling. So this, we've got a leg down. We could have a quick flush down, and if we do, all this is going to get taken out. There's going to be longs there, maybe some there. It's struggling multiple times. So if it gets above here, I think we're okay, but it could just come come tumbling down. So that's enough to keep me out of a trade. See what I mean? It's really struggling. And it may come down and take out all this, and obviously its counterparts. In fact, let's leave that there a minute, just see what happens. But if this comes dropping down, forget a good setup here. This will come down with it. It's struggling. I mean, look at that. So if you've taken that trade now, your life will be flashing before your eyes. You might be all right, but I'm just not convinced. This looks to me like it's struggling. So there is a possible second entry short. Yeah, that was. So it'd be nice to see that trigger. See what happens if that triggers. Is that the one going to come down? So, yeah, I think it might do. Look at this. If this comes down, this will follow. If you get below here and here, forget all this lot, all the stops will get taken out. I almost feel like this gives you a quick glimpse, a second or two into the future of this. That's what it feels like. See, okay, so there's a failed second entry short, which is trap some shorts. Now, you'd expect that to work, and it may do, but the fact that it's congested, and this is congested, makes the chance of it winning a little bit less likely. It's clearly chopping. So it's hard to say. It may work. I mean, when we come down here, we are getting rejected every time, so who knows? And there is a failure there, but yeah, I still wouldn't take that just because of this, and there's not much room left to the highs, is there? And it ain't finished yet. Okay, so yeah, there's half a point left to the highs. There's nothing there, so that's too dangerous for me. Now it looks like the type of thing that would work beautifully, but look at this, how wicky this is. This could literally either do anything. I mean, it's looking like it's holding, but it'll only hold for so long. And if it does come down, there's going to be longs there. And regardless, there's a bit of a range there, and we're going long into the tops of it. So, do you really want to be going long there? That's a dangerous place to go long. It's not saying it won't work. It may rock it up, but really, that's probably a horrible place to go long, really. Last thing you want to see a tick above, tick below. Excuse me, sorry. 13, 14, 15. This is 3 and 3 odd points. 3 and 3/4 point risk, that is. I mean, the EMA is holding price, and it is here. But look at this all of a sudden. That's why I wouldn't take it. I love having the fact that we've got another picture on there. That looks even more sketchy than this to me. This looks a bit clearer. When it's really wicky like that, it just makes things more risky. And if that does decide to come below those, then forget this and that. And if it does, once it gets below here, I'll be surprised if we don't have a really good drop. Let's see if it closes below here. Okay, that's the first close below. It's the first time it's closed below that EMA since here. I mean, there's a few longs in here. There'll be some longs there taking the higher low. The failure, even better looking bar. It's sitting beautifully. Ordinarily, it'd be a lovely trade to take that, would. Ordinarily, you know, we've had 2 legs back, higher low, failure. I thought this market would have rocketed up for there, but the fact that we're going a bit sideways is probably why. But I think this is a dangerous area to go long, so close to the tops, and after we've had, you know, quite a good move up, it's gone up sharp and it's less sharp. I'd say we were in line for a leg and a leg, a break. And it is congested amongst anything, regardless of anything. And you're going long here. We're clearly in a range at the moment. We touched here multiple times. Touch 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 times there, depending on where you've got that. Yeah, I think the longer it takes to push up, the more chance it's got of coming down. It's struggling now. Yeah, there's definitely a battle going on, isn't there? Yeah, it's not looking good, is it? Maybe it's going to hold. I mean, it still looks like 2 legs back. 1 leg, 2 legs back. So perhaps it will work. Okay, it may work. Okay, so that's got above here. That hasn't yet. Close. Ooh. Sellers really don't want to give up that, do they? Yeah, see, we still closed here 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 times. Oh, there we go. There we go. When it got above there, it'd be right there. Yeah, it's just you just never know, do you? Sometimes I've jumped in these trades before and they go really slow. All of a sudden they whack down. So I tend to leave them alone, but it eventually worked. So right up to that measured leg. Love the way it did that. Up to that measured leg, crossed over, came down. In fact, that can go up a fraction. Perfect, look at that. Yeah, see, ordinarily a trade like that would be lovely, wouldn't it? Even a higher low, you'd expect it to go. But the way this was just going, it wasn't looking good. I do like the fact that we got this. It does help me. Measured move's been made, finally. I'll be on my way to Friday's high. Let's get that back up there. Oh yeah, we're not far away, are we? God, I'm loving that. Billions. I watched another one this morning. I'm on season 5. I only started watching it a couple of weeks ago. I'm on season 5, halfway through season 5. It is great. Brilliantly written. Brilliantly written. I think the guy that plays Chuck Rose is brilliant. His character's brilliant. He's very good. Brilliant actor, I've got to say. He's really impressive. But I like that. It's on Sky at the moment, but all seasons are. But if you're a trade, it's basically about this guy who sort of owns his hedge fund, but there's loads of different dodgy dealings. But there's some great characters. It's just that half of them, the stuff they get up to, it's hilarious in parts, but just some of the characters, it is brilliant. It's on Amazon Prime. I don't know. I don't think it is actually, because we haven't got Sky in the bedroom, and I usually watch it on my tablet. But it is brilliant. It's really good. The characters in it are hilarious. Some of the stuff they get up to, it's really good. You got to watch it. I mean, if you're a trader, you're interested in trader anyway. You know, we love all that type of stuff, don't we? But yeah, the characters are really brilliant. They are. Just gives you a taste of what stuff you can get up to if you earn ridiculous amounts of money. But I mean, they are talking ridiculous amounts of money. I mean, literally billions. It just goes to how the other half live, honestly. Jumping in private jets and helicopters and stuff like that. Oh yeah, having your own personal chef to make your pizzas. Your own personal pizza chef. That's what I watched here in the US. Oh, yeah, it might be different over in the US. See, sometimes Prime and Netflix are different over there. They have different viewings, but you guys are usually a bit ahead of us, aren't you? So I would say, now that's broken that measured move, that would come back to the EMA. But yeah, it is great TV. I'm not sure how many. I think there's 7 series. It's only just recently finished, I think. But I kind of like watching stuff when they finish because you can binge watch them. Then I usually watch 2 or 3 at night, and I watched one this morning actually when I got up. I watched about 3 last night. But it's going to be sad when I run out of them. But great characters in there. There really is. We do seem to be getting a nice channel there. So clearly a spike in channel. It's working really nice. I'm watching. See an Apple TV. It's really nice. Nothing to do with trading there. I'm watching See on Apple TV. What is it, Kev? Oh, it's called C. C. So look. It's on Apple TV, is it? All right, okay. See. Jason Momoa. He's in it, is he? Oh, yeah, he is. I'll have to have a go at that. I'll take a photo of that. Yeah. I like stuff. I'd say what I did like. Is it Vikings? I like that. I thought that was good. Vikings. It's a fair few of those as well. A fair few episodes of those. I love getting into series, and I do. House was one of my favourite. Hugh Laurie. I thought that was brilliantly written. I was a big fan of that. Shame when they finished that. But yeah, some great TV series is out there. I like that other thing with Damian Lewis in Homeland. Thought that was good as well. I watched all of those. But I'll rewatch them sometimes. If I haven't seen them for 6 months, I'll rewatch them again. See, I'll look at that later. Because I'm probably only got another week or so of this Billions before I run out. But if you haven't watched it, brilliant TV. I mean, some of these are brilliantly written. They really are. They're all blind. It's passed on. Is it really? Oh, interesting. So what else I watched I liked as well was Outlander. That was set in Scotland. Well, it started, I think, it was just after the Second World War, and there was a guy who's a professor, and he went up to Scotland, and they went to watch these women doing this weird Scottish dancing around the stones, and this woman, I think she leaves something there, and she goes back there and sort of leans up against a stone and seems to fall through into the past, into the 1700s or something, late 1700s. Into all the wars with the clans and all that sort of stuff. That's a really good watch as well. Sam Heughan and what's her name? I forget her name now. That's a really good watch. All set in Scotland. Stunning scenery. Brilliant. I think that's just season 7's just recently started. I think a few months ago. I'll have a look at that later. But I was watching Richest Movie Stars and Actors, something on YouTube the other night, and you had people like Tom Cruise there, which you'd expect, John Travolta, The Rock, but the one person that's got way more money than all of them is Jerry Seinfeld. I was quite surprised. You'd think people like Tom Cruise, John Travolta and The Rock will be the top earners. No, not even close. Jerry Seinfeld, I was quite surprised. I'd love to be stinking rich, I would. Ugh. Boat, plane, I'd have a jet, absolutely 100%. And I'd have a nice boat as well. Around the 20 million mark for the boat. That should get me what I want. I would love to live the high life, I really would. Never pay for sex in my life, but I'd like to do it just once. With a really high class one. That would be nice hanging out in them places. I would. You're only here once, you might as well enjoy it. Laughing like someone that's probably paid for it, I think. Nothing wrong with that, mate. Close to yesterday's highs. Yeah, up here. I'll be interested to see what happens. You guys have just got way more than us over here in the UK. We're too quiet and placid. You lot know how to enjoy yourself. Hopefully your wife has done that. She's not. She's at work. Yeah, she's at work. I'm safely locked in the bedroom. You're holding your long guy. Yeah, it's looking like it's going to continue up on the Nasdaq, actually. That looks like a spike in a channel. We've touched 3 times here, 4, 5, 6. It does look like it's sort of continuing this in this. What's it? You know when it's recorded. Post. Yeah, I know it is. My wife knows what I'm like. She knows I don't mean nothing by it. That looks like it's going to continue up. The real worry is my brother-in-law watches this sometimes. I think he's on about learning to trade. But no. It's all right to talk about, isn't it? Yeah, okay, we're coming up to, so yesterday, Friday's highs. So it'd be interesting to see what happens. Sometimes it does make a difference. It smashes through it, but trust me, I'll just give my wife a stack of money and she can go out and buy handbags. She won't care what I'm doing. High class service. Oh, you just see some of these boats, don't you? I got to see, I mean, what's that place? Kev will probably know. It's on YouTube. You see the boats coming in that inlet. Where is it? With that, where they're coming from the sort of the dock out to sea, and they're going down this thin channel, and it's I don't know, there's currents coming in and out, and you know, sometimes they tend to film a lot around there because a lot of boats, well, people tend to is that where it is, Miami? Yeah, some boats you see sinking, and the people get thrown all over the place, but you only ever see beautiful looking women in bikinis, don't you? Most of the time, that is. So I figure the way I have women like that around me is by buying a boat. Just thinking logically. But yeah, I mean, I watch that sometimes on there, and God, that water's rough, isn't it? But some people just still attempt it, don't they? But even larger boats get smashed around, don't they? But some people they got kids sat in the front of the boat with no life jackets, and they're bouncing all over the place. Crazy. I'd love a boat. I would. I really would. I love one. So much to live in. I don't know how the other half live, eh? Yeah, there's a guy in the UK, Aquaholic he calls himself, and he goes all over the country, well, all over the world, I think, certain times. And he looks around boats, just sort of reviews them. And he's got a boat down in Southampton, but nothing major. I think he paid about 50,000 for it, something like that. So it's a small boat, a little day boat. But he goes and visits and just films around some incredible boats. He really does. Wow. You like planes? Oh, absolutely like planes as well. Yeah, absolutely. I'd have a jet for sure. Something like a nice Gulfstream, something like that. Yeah. Oh, I do like planes as well. I've always been into planes. It's just another boy's toy, isn't it? About their aliens. They're all over the US, aliens, aren't they? But no, planes. I'd be exactly the same. Planes and boats. I would. Not that fussed about cars. No, not as much as I used to. I like sandals. Don't have socks. Yeah, that's the best thing with trading. Don't aim too high. There's an English producer from Liverpool, and he's on YouTube. I forget, is it producer Michael or something? He has one of his friends filming him everywhere, and he buys expensive. He's got masses of watches and all this, and I think he said he spent 20 million on a boat. And went out in it and ended up being that badly seasick he sold it pretty quickly. Crazy, eh? I think it's called Producer Michael, and it just follows him around. He's stinking rich as well. Cars, houses. He's got a jet. I mean, he's got millions and millions of pounds worth of watches. He bought one of these. What's the? I forget the guy now. He makes the watches, all handmade stuff. One of his watches cost $1 million. What's his name? It's like FNF or SNS, something like that. I can't remember. But I do like. I'm not really a jewellery person, but I do like watches. I have had a few nice watches over the years. I've had I've had 3 Amigas, a couple of Seamasters, and the Moonwatch, the Speedmaster. I had one of those. I ended up selling that to buy a van for a business about 4 years ago. But I do like watches. The craftsmanship's unreal. But yeah, boat, plane. Yeah, not as madly interested as cars as I used to be. But yeah, if I come into a lot of money, I think I'd first buy a car just to drive to look at a boat. But I'd get out of this country, I would. Don't get me wrong, there's a lot worse places to live, but you'd end up getting murdered with the tax over here. I thought, what is our tax now? I think isn't it nearly 50% for high earners, over about 150,000. You lose half your money. You lose more than half your money in the UK with tax. But from a trader's point of view, any type of trader or investor, the world's your oyster, isn't it? You go to places like Dubai and live wealthily over there just for the amount of money that you pay tax here. It's horrendous. I think if you earn over 150,000 a year, you're paying about 50% tax. Well, then once you paid your national insurance on top of that, you've lost over half your money. I think that's why places like Dubai are a mecca for any type of financial people, because you can work from a computer. We've got the luxury of just having a computer and internet connection, but it is crazy, really. I know that money's got to come from somewhere, I do, but it's the trouble is you got to give people a certain incentive, otherwise they'll just move abroad. That's why so many businesses go abroad, because of the amount of tax. I mean, you've got to have a balance. I just wish the government would look at the way they spend before they take money off everyone else. Half the money they spend is squandered. I mean, in the UK, maybe was it 7 or 8 years ago, we had the expenses scandals. MPs that sort of work in London get expenses. They get rent for another house, but they were getting, we're going back 7 or 8 years ago. They were getting like £500. They were able to spend £500 on a blender. There's so much they can spend on certain items, and they just took the piss. Spent a fortune. Some of them even went to prison because they just took the piss, really. There's money there. They take money from taxes, but it's still the taxpayers' money, and you just can't just blow it. And that's the trouble with governments. They got no sense when it comes to spending. I mean, we're the people who used to living on a budget. You know what I mean? We can't go out and buy whatever we want, but then you give money to people who are used to having everything they want. They just don't know how to spend it properly. Liberally, sort of carefully. £500 for a blender. That's what they were allocated. Second houses. Ridiculous. And they call themselves public servants. I mean, if you look at Richie Sunak, or Rusty Ballsack as I call him, his wife's worth millions. And they did the old the non-domiciled thing. She wasn't paying UK tax, even though she was living here with the Prime Minister and not paying tax on her earnings. Yeah, once people start to get money, they start to protect it, including politicians. You can't blame them. You can't blame people for it. You earn decent money. You want to hold on to it. You don't want to give it away. It's only natural. But obviously with politicians and all the tax and stuff, setting new tax rules when you're trying to dodge the tax yourself, that's a bit of a no-no. Rusty Ballsack. Yeah, you like that one. They're all the same politicians, aren't they? But at the end of the day, when you've got money coming out your ears, it's going to change you to a degree. You're going to expect that. You're going to do things you wouldn't normally do. You're going to act the way you wouldn't normally act. But yeah, I mean, there was a massive scandal. I think it was about 8 years ago. But people were claiming for stuff in their wives' names and all this. This one guy was claiming for a second house that his girlfriend was living in. Yeah, they just took the piss. And then once the press got hold of it, it all came out. And I know some of them went to prison. They were just taking the piss. I don't know how many times I watch those sort of PMs questions sometimes, and half the time they're paid. These PMs, these I don't know if it's the same for the US, but some of these ministers and politicians are paid X amount of money just to turn up. I know it's something like £675 per day just to turn up and sit in Parliament. And I don't know how many times they scan over with the cameras and some of them are asleep. It's crazy, really. Okay, so we're clearly getting a bit of an uptrend today. That looks like that bounce we're having off that daily. We thought that we were going to get a reaction to this. We actually bounced originally, then we dropped through it, and then we finished sort of more or less neutral. So it's hard to say now whether we're going to get another leg down here, or whether we're just going to push up, maybe go a bit sideways, or continue higher. So it's hard to say, really. But we sort of thought we may get a bounce. In fact, you know what? I'm going to knock it on the edge for the day, I think. I've done just under an hour and a half. So 3 trades there. So that one I'd have taken. That one, see, normally I wouldn't have taken that one, but based on what the NQ was showing me, it was a really nice trade. And by the way, it pushed up, So it just goes to show really how much the NQ affects this. If it's a solid setup on the NQ and a pretty good one here, that will give it more credence for you to take a trade here. So it's really interesting how the two are interlinking, but I think it can definitely help you make a better decision. Because obviously earlier on, the NQ, the channel up with the NQ we were in 2 separate ones here, but there was one solid channel with the NQ. And it looked a lot neater. There was a day trader from Canada. He used to live stream and he would fall asleep and be snored. Oh, Benny. I see normally when I'm on a PA account, there's no way I could sleep because my heart rate's going about 120 beats per minute. You think there'd be. The only one I know from Canada is what's his name? The Canadian futures trader he's altered his voice. I look at some of his earlier videos and his voice is a lot different. But he's deepened his voice, but he's the only one I know. Canadian one. I don't know, you could sleep through this. Well, I suppose if you're on your own, maybe you could, but I don't know. So, yeah, I'm going to knock on the end there. So I've got 2 more days of 1 micro a day, but I'm still going to do an hour and a half or so on a sim. It's still worth getting the screen time in. But not a bad day today, actually. We had the channel up, 2 clear legs. It was a rather large bar, but obviously me being on a sim, I wasn't paying too much attention to that, but it was quite a large bar. But we bounce here, we come back here, and there was a higher low, so we're clearly, it wasn't him, no. Okay. We're clearly sort of bouncing off this area, so if you didn't take that one, it wasn't a perfect higher low, but it was much better on the NQ and a lot clearer 2 legs back, so I think that was probably okay, and it was a small risk anyway, and same with that one. Not the best looking trade here, although it still looks like a bit of a hidden set. This sort of leg, a bit of a side was in a leg, so yeah, you too, bud, you too. Anytime, mate, anytime. So, not a bad day, actually. It's clearly going up. So, if you can get back here, I wouldn't be surprised if you'll get another setup. So that's me for the day. So, I'll be back here again tomorrow. So, tomorrow, day after, I'll just do an hour and a half a day. And then when these two start on Thursday, I'll do my normal sort of few hours. So, I appreciate all the comments. Best of luck if you hope you get a setup. Failing that, stay safe, and I will speak to you all same time tomorrow. Bye for now.